Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Once again, it's time to introduce our first facilitator for today, Moyinoluwa Anoma. Moyinoluwa Anoma is interested in advancing Africa's prosperity through data, research, and innovation in the fields of technology and education. Anoma is the founder of Women in Data Africa, WIDA, and she currently works as a data analyst for Bloomberg LP. Moyoluwa holds a bachelor's degree in employment relations and human resources management, and is an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, Career Expo 2025. Can we make welcome Moyoluwa Anoma?
You're welcome, ma. Up to you, ma'am.
Thanks so much, Jess, for that introduction. Today, we are going to be talking about what a CV is, why do we need one, how to build one. I'll also be sharing how to use AI to optimize our CV. And if you need professional help at the end of the session, I'm going to be showing us how we can get professional help. Just before I go on, I just want to clarify, has anyone here ever had to apply for a job with a CV before? I want to presume everyone has, but if you have specifically, I want you to raise your hand. I'm presuming that everyone has at least applied for a job with a CV, either in uni or out of uni or switching jobs. Okay, great. Next slide, please, Bolu. All right, just a little bit about me. I have almost 5 years experience in the industry, that is within HR and also tech. I've seen people succeed and fail during an application process due to how they have gone about their CV. After this session, I hope that you can understand the importance of a great CV, build one, and also know how to optimize one by yourself. Okay, let's start easy. What is a CV? What does it mean to anybody? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about the word CV? Okay, so to me, a CV means that it is a first impression to a recruiter or to someone that wants to know about you. I also think it's a 3 minute elevator speech. So research shows that recruiters spend a minimum of 3 minutes looking at a CV and deciding if they're going to proceed the CV to the next stage or not. I also think a CV is an opportunity for someone else to have insights into what I have done and what I can potentially do. And I think a CV is a brag document of everything that I've accomplished so far in my life, in my career, in academics. So why do we need a CV in the first place? I want to think that a strong CV is your best chance to tell a compelling story. We're all a mosaic of different stories that we want to tell people, including a recruiter or an academic advisor or for a scholarship. What a CV does is it also makes a case for why you belong to a specific organization, school, or program. I like to think of a CV as bridging the gap between my current achievements and also future opportunities. Okay, so good to note. And this is just a segue. While building your CV, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, or you haven't started optimizing the current one that you have, I'd implore that you start working on that because your CV should also contain your LinkedIn. And if a recruiter potentially checks out your LinkedIn and they see that, oh, you are not that serious or you probably lied on your CV, while you're building your CV, checking your LinkedIn is a great way to go. For techies, I need you to also start thinking about your portfolio. So building your portfolio, making sure that your portfolio is also on your CV and everything in between. So get ready with me, CV edition. Let's build a CV from scratch. I know it's giving our estimates. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is the header of a CV. There are very varying different ideas of what people think the header of their CV should have. There's some people that have unnecessary information like date of birth, NIN, BVN, everything in between. I want to implore us to try as much as possible to not have any personal information. at the header of our CV. Anything that will potentially create a bias towards us should not be on our CV. So your race, your gender, your date of birth, the last salary you earned, all those are personal information that should necessarily not be on your CV. Personally, I want to see your full name and it should be clearly written in bold, like I have on this particular template. I want to see your location. And for location, you have to be safe. Do not put your full location on your CV. Make sure that it's maybe the country and the state. So if you live in Lagos, Nigeria, just make it Lagos, comma, Nigeria, full stop. Your email address. One thing that I find is people put in incorrect email addresses on their CV, and that can be detrimental because when we reach out to you and it bounces back, it's a reflection of you not paying attention to the details that you have on your CV. So you want to make sure that your email is correct and professional. No at sexyred199 at gmail.com on your CV. That is a turn off. Put your phone number, but also make sure you add the country code. Link your LinkedIn, your GitHub, or your portfolio, however way you want it to be. Next slide, please. Now we are going to be looking at the body of a CV, first part. So for this particular template that I'm showing us, it's a technical template for an entry-level data analyst, which is why skills is the first thing that you can see on the body. Reason being that if an organization is using ATS, which is applicant tracking system, to sift through CVs, they are going to be looking for keywords. And if they see that you have all the skills that have been described in the job description at the top of your CV, the probability that the ATS will flag your CV as a great CV is really high. For education, I'm a little bit. People will argue that education should be on top. People will argue that education should be at the bottom. Personally, there are two reasons why your education should be on top. One, if you're applying for a technical role and you have a technical degree, put your education on top. If you're applying for a technical role and it's a non-technical degree, put your education at the bottom. If you are a recent graduate, put your education at the top. You want to show recruiters that you are a recent graduate and you're applying for entry-level positions. For work experience, make it very neat, very structured. Put the company name, put the role that you did, and in bullet points, make sure that one, there are no grammatical errors because that's one thing we struggle with when we're reviewing CVs. Going through CVs and seeing grammatical errors is a very big turn off. So you want to make sure that there are no grammatical errors on your CV. Also make sure that you have impact-driven bullet points on your CV. And what this essentially means is instead of highlighting very generic things that you did within the role, make sure that you have impact driven. Like, so what did you do specifically that led to impact within that role? Next slide, please. Thank you, Bolu. I owe you one cold drink after this. All right, so part two of body. If you are an entry-level applicant, leadership and volunteering experience section is good to have on your CV. Reason being that while you're in school, it's expected that you were part of communities, you served, you volunteered, you tried to gain experience through volunteering because you could not get full-time experience. So if you are an entry-level applicant or you are pivoting into a new career, this particular section is extremely good to have. So highlighting all of your leadership experience and adding bullet points on what you specifically did and also the date range. For certification, great to have for entry level and also technical career pivoting roles. So if you're moving from, say, HR to marketing or HR to software engineering, your certification section will show some of the certificates you've gotten that some of the certificates you've gotten to upskill into software engineering. Interests. very controversial. There's some people that believe that interest should not be added to the CV. I like to think that it has worked for me over time. Every single time I go into an application and they see that I like to read, the first thing they ask me is, what did you read recently? And then we talk about it, and that leads to us talking for like 20 to 30 minutes. But I'm also aware that this does not work for everyone. So at your discretion, make sure that your interests are things you can talk about, things that you're passionate about, maybe. So, common mistakes to avoid when you are working on your CV: typos and grammatical errors. I've mentioned this. Make sure if you can use Grammarly or Quillbot, please use them. Use these tools to make sure that you do not have any typos or grammatical errors on your CV. Excessive length or irrelevant information. The CV I just showed you is a one-page CV, and you can see how much information it has, and it's not excessive. There are no irrelevant information. The third thing is generic or vague description. So, you know, those bullet points that I showed earlier, make sure that they are impact driven. Don't make them generic. Don't say, I worked on a project. That's very generic. Like, tell me what you did. Tell me what impact you made while you're working on that project. Inconsistent formatting, fancy design or templates. If you're not applying to like a UI, UX, a design role, I'd advise that you stay away from fancy design templates and stick to like the old fashioned traditional template, mostly because the way ATS works is sometimes if you have a table in the middle of your CV, sometimes it can't read through that part of your CV and think this is a table. And that can be very detrimental to your application. So if I was to advise you, stick to traditional boring CV templates if you can. According to Google, over 75% of applications do not get to the next stage because of the CV. And it's mostly because most organizations now use ATS, which I've mentioned before. It's an applicant tracking system to go through CVs and to sieve out CVs that they don't think is great. I'm sure some of you might be thinking, so how do I make my CV ATS friendly? Firstly, make sure that your CV is specific to the job description. That goes without saying. That should be a rule of thumb for every single time you apply for a job. Make sure it is role specific and it's tailored to the job description. Use industry keywords. So if you're applying for a marketing role, you want to use keywords like ROAS, which is return on ads. You want to use keywords like workflow management. You want to use keywords like marketing strategies, like use industry keywords so the ATS can think your CV is like really good. Use standard formatting and file types. Okay, I've not seen anybody apply with an Excel sheet, but like stick to PDFs. Make sure that when you're uploading your CV, you upload in PDF format. So employ common section headings. What this means is work experience is an example of a common section heading. Everyone has that section on their CV called work experience. Like I mentioned before, avoid graphics, images, and tables. Use a simple design. Include both long form and abbreviated terms. So for example, if you worked on like an SEO project, make sure that you have their search engine optimization and then in bracket SEO. So do not just put the SEO on your CV. Make sure you put the long form there. Like I mentioned before, use action-oriented bullet points, proofread always, and check for consistency. And you can use JobScan, which is an ATS free tool online that you can use to check if your CV is ATS friendly or not. All right. So using AI for your CV, I encourage everyone to leverage on the use of AI because this will ensure that you have a strong application, a strong CV. It sets you apart. Um, I want to advise that I'm not encouraging anyone to lie on their CV. Using AI on your CV is not to lie on your CV, essentially. We're going to talk about what I mean. All right, so step by step on using AI to optimize your CV. You can start by using the prompt. So if you're using ChatGPT as an example, you can start by using the prompt, act as a professional ATS CV editor. I will attach my CV and a job description, optimize and tailor my CV to the job description. Then go ahead and attach your CV, copy and paste the job description. When you're done doing that, ChatGPT will give you something in return. Then you can further optimize by using the prompt. I have this set of skills. I liked how I can add them as transferable skills to my CV. This is very important for people that are transitioning from one job to another job. So if you're going from HR to software engineering, there are certain skills you have as an HR person that are transferable into software engineering. So you want to tell ChatGPT that I have this set of skills. How can I highlight them on my CV as transferable skills? And then last but not the least, you can also tell it to rewrite your work experience, making it more action oriented and showing measurable impact. And then last but not the least, read through and edit where necessary. Do not just upload that in your application. Make sure you actually read through and edit where necessary. These are other prompt suggestions that I think might be nice. So the first is review my CV and suggest improvements to make it more ATS friendly. So these are prompts to use if you're going to be using ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, to review your CV. Another prompt can be optimize my CV for this specific industry, emphasizing my transferable skills. This is great for people that are transitioning from, say, a non-tech to a tech career or tech to non-tech. Rewrite my work experience to be more action-oriented and create data-driven bullet points for my CV to show impact. Very important. Yeah, so if you require professional help, I work with an organization that helps people to review their CV, LinkedIn optimization, cover letter, and everything in between. Go to this website, and if you use Anoma 10, you get 10% off the price. I hope this has been helpful to anyone. Esther, I like I like the fact that you were putting highlights in the chat box. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much, Anoma. Thank you for that. Please, if you have questions, I would love to encourage you to put it on the chat box. Payokemi is saying it's very helpful and she has been looking forward to this. Please, would like to get your question. Anoma is still with us. Would ensure would create a modality to how your questions will be answered. Thank you very much. It's been a very insightful session.